Plate number 6. Nervous system. With the plate in front of you, you can learn more about the human nervous system. Use both hands to scan the whole plate. On the right side you will find a figure, an outline of the human body. The figure extends from the bottom of the plate to the top. It is shown from the side, facing to the left. At the top left, there is a large, round object with a wavy surface. This is a replica of the human brain. There are lines under the brain, and in the left corner of the plate there is a circular area with a nerve cell. We are going to look at all the objects and learn more about them. In the bottom right corner, you will find a frame with a QR code. You can scan it with your mobile phone and listen to the description of this plate whenever you want. And off you go. Return to the figure outline on the right. Remember that this figure represents a human, viewed from the side and facing the center of the plate. Feel their back on the right edge of the plate. As the plate is specifically about the nervous system, the parts that belong to it are highlighted. The orange area, which you feel as a rounded bump in the head of the figure, represents the brain. Its position and size fit to the dimensions of the figure. On the left side of the head, feel the nose, the chin, then the neck and the whole body. On the right side of the figure, from top to bottom, feel a line on the back starting from the brain. It ends just below the buttocks. This line represents the spinal cord. Trace the enlarged brain again at the top center of the plate. Feel horizontal lines underneath that meet in the middle at a thicker, moderately curved line. Next to the horizontal lines at the top right, the plate shows a human hand with 5 fingers, and at the bottom left you will find a foot. The nervous system is divided into 2 parts. The central nervous system, which includes the brain and the spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system, which is outside the brain and spinal cord. It includes the nerves that connect the head, face, eyes, nose, muscles, and ears to the brain. Let's examine the brain together, the big round object with the wavy surface. The surface of a real brain has similar undulations and grooves. These are the folds of the brain. The brain is inside the skull. The brain consists of 2 hemispheres, the right and the left hemisphere. Furthermore, we divide the brain into parts called lobes. Start at the top left. Take this red part of the brain, which corresponds to the frontal lobe of the brain, in your hand and place it next to the plate. The front part of your brain, called the frontal lobe, assists you in organizing and deciding things, and shaping your character. Although it also contributes to your movements, other parts of your brain are also accountable for bodily motion. Beside and to the right of the frontal lobe is the blue-colored parietal lobe. It is mainly responsible for attention, the ability to concentrate, and sensory perception, i.e., information received through the senses like sight, hearing, smell, taste and touch. Take this part of the brain off the plate as well and connect it to the frontal lobe, which is already next to the plate. Continue with the light brown part of the brain on the bottom left. This is the temporal lobe. It contains the auditory cortex and is responsible for processing information from acoustic stimuli. It decodes the information from what we hear, allowing us to recognize the tones and sounds and make sense of what other people are saying. Take the temporal lobe in your hand and connect it to the frontal lobe and parietal lobes next to the plate. The last of the 4 brain lobes, the green occipital lobe, is still on the plate. It contains the visual center. This is where we process what our eyes see so that we know a tree is a tree, a book is a book, and so on. Complete the brain next to the plate and add this 4th lobe to the other 3 already there. Next to the plate, you have now assembled the so-called end brain. It makes up 80% of the brain. Return to the plate and find the orange, rough, egg-shaped area that is firmly attached to the plate. The large area is the cerebellum, which is responsible for balance and precision of movement. The smaller round area in front of the cerebellum is the pons, which connects the parts of the brain. It is also called the bridge. It also controls some reflexes. These are short, involuntary movements that always occur in the same way. They cause, for example, the flow of tears and saliva and the constriction of the pupils, in bright light. Continue downwards. As in the figure on the right, the spinal cord comes out of the brain, which you feel at the bottom of the brain. Just below the cerebellum and the pons, you feel the broader part of the beginning of the spinal cord, which is called the medulla oblongata. It contains the vital centers for breathing, the heart and the reflex center. The medulla oblongata, the pons, and the midbrain, which lies above it in the brain, together form the brain stem. Follow the broad line to the bottom of the plate. This is the spinal cord, which, like the brain, is part of the central nervous system. It is located in the spine and is protected by the vertebrae. The spinal cord is mainly responsible for our mobility. Next to the spinal cord you can feel horizontal lines. These are bundles of nerves that come out of the spinal cord on either side and spread out all over the body. They are part of the peripheral nervous system. In the left corner of the board is a round area with a nerve cell and neuron shown in the color green. The neuron is the basic functional unit of nervous tissue. It transmits information that comes from within the body, example, stomach ache, as well as information or stimuli from the environment, example, noise, so that the organism, human being, can react to it. Examine the neuron and feel the branches that go out from the cell body in different directions. There are thinner and thicker ones. In the middle of the neuron, you will also feel a central point called the nucleus. The extensions protruding from the neuron are called dendrites and they carry information to the inside of the neuron. One of the extensions is long and branched at the end. This is a neurite or axon, and it carries information away from the center of the neuron.